Good morning. Welcome to the Long Live Alternative Parties podcast. Free Press Media Press Inc., an alternative parties books publisher, sponsors this podcast. I'm Andrew Bouchard. Welcome to Long Live Alternative Parties podcast. Alternative Parties friends, we have another exciting guest. It's someone who's running for office in Illinois, a state I went to high school in. Her name is Toneal Jackson, and welcome to the podcast, Toneal.
Thank you so much for having me.
We are glad to have you. Let us get started by you kindly giving us an introduction to yourself, a brief biographical sketch.
Sure. So my name is Toneal M. Jackson. Toneal like the Captain Ann, I always say. But I am running for the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District of Greater Chicago Board of Commissioner, and I am affiliated with the Green Party. And so this is the first time that I've ever run for office. So when I'm not doing that, what I am in my regular life, I am a national and international award-winning author, publisher, speaker, coach, and I help other entrepreneurs. I help to educate and empower other entrepreneurs about the business of entrepreneurship. So that's what I do in my regular life.
Oh my, that's exciting.
Thank you.
So kindly tell us how you got involved in the Green Party in the first place.
You know what? It actually came about in 2020 when we were preparing for the upcoming election. I also do some podcasting, and I was doing a show or a series of shows about the upcoming election, and I kind of broke it down using a journalistic approach of like the who, what, when, where, why, and how of voting. And so when we got to the who for the candidates, in terms of mainstream, all they ever were talking about was Joe Biden and Donald Trump, right? And so when I did my research, I found out that there was a Green Party candidate by the name of Howie Hawkins who was also running that I had never heard of. And not only had I never heard of Howie Hawkins, but I had never heard of the Green Party. And so from that, I just started doing more research. And so I started researching the Green Party, information about them. And when I found the website, and the website I think that I initially found was ilgp.org, so IllinoisGreenParty.org. When I saw that site, I initially saw their 10 core values. And when I was reading them, so like what they believe in, grassroots democracy and nonviolence and social justice and racial diversity and gender equity and community-based economics, ecological wisdom, personal and global responsibility, so in either case, when I'm reading all of those different values that they have, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is what I believe, And so I'd never been an active political person. I'd always done my civic duty since I was 18 in terms of being able to vote, but I had never, gotten involved hands-on with a political party. And so when I saw this information, then it kind of like compelled me to reach out to them. And so, everybody is on Facebook. And so I reached out and I found their ILGP page on Facebook, reached out, asked about joining that group. They brought me into the group. And so then AJ Reed, who is actually one of the co-chairs for Illinois Green Party, he welcomed me with open arms, and he let me know different people that I should contact, to ask questions about. And then Anna Schiefelbein, who at the time was the organizer, she reached out to me. And, they really just became like family. And so I just, like I say, from that point, I just started to learn more about the party. I was going to the meetings because at this point we were still COVID and a lot of things were still closed, so we were just doing a lot of Zoom meetings. And so just learning more about the organization as a whole. And so, about a year or so later, they asked if I would be interested in running for the MWRD commissioner. And I'm like, you know what? Absolutely. I will definitely do it to represent the Green Party. So, that's how I became Green.
Wow, that's good. So kindly tell us what the position you're seeking is doing. What are the responsibilities of the role? What does it cover?
Absolutely, absolutely. So with the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District, this is what most people know about is the MWRD. What they do, there are 7 plants in Illinois. So you have 7 treatment plants in Illinois. And so their responsibility is to treat our wastewater and our stormwater. So all of the water that comes out of your house. So every time you flush the toilet, you take a bath, and the water that goes down that drain or your running water, all water that leaves your home is going through to these treatment plants, so that way they can treat them before they is re-released to for our greater for Lake Michigan's water supply. So this is what we do what is done at the MWRD site. But being a commissioner, what my job would be is to help to write policies and procedures that would help to protect the water environment. And on top of that, we would then oversee what's going on fiscally with the MWRD. So as a commissioner, that's our job. And obviously there are some other things, but those are the 2 greatest responsibilities that we have as commissioners.
So how do you plan to implement your Green Party vision in this role?
Absolutely. So I always say, who better to help take care of the environment than someone from the Green Party, right? Like when you're looking at
Sure.
with the MWRD, they are really concerned about helping our environment. With the Green Party, we are really concerned about saving the environment. And so these are areas in which we overlap. So whether you're talking about things from like just climate control, climate change, helping improve the quality of our water, helping our planet, so various environmental issues. These are things that both the Green Party and the MWRD have in common. And so me as a person, it's really an easy fit, because for me, working with MWRD would kind of be an extension of the Green Party as it pertains to dealing with those issues.
So how about ballot access? Are you already on the ballot? Have you had to get on the ballot? Did your party already have ballot access? How is the ballot access issue for you?
So it is definitely an unfair slant toward independent parties. So let's go with answering your question and then giving backstory. So yes, I am on the ballot, or I will be on the ballot come November 8th. They have not yet let us know in terms of ballot positioning, and that won't be available, I think they said, to at least September 20th, if not a little bit later, but definitely by the end of this month, we should know positioning. So for my particular term, I am running for the 2-year unexpired term, and so it's myself against Dan Pochelski. So there are 2 candidates. I am a Green Party representative, or candidate, I'll say a Green Party candidate, and Dan is a Democratic candidate. So it's just the 2 of us that's running. Now, in terms of when we're talking about ballot access and the ranked choice voting and things like that, it is definitively more difficult for independent parties to get on the ballot. So as an example, I want to say with my particular office, if you were a Republican or a Democrat, I think you only needed 400 signatures. So when you first start the process, you have to have petitions circulating, right? And so you first have to get X amount of signatures, whatever your office requires, in order to be able to be put on the initial ballot for the primary election. And so with Democrats and Republicans, they only have to have, like I said, I want to say it's maybe 400. Our number for the Green Party, and this was only because we are already established, we still had to have 1,132 votes. So that means we had to have almost 3 times the amount of votes as the major party systems had, even though we are considered to be established in this office. And so we were able to do that successfully. So what happens is once you get it to where you have the amount of votes, we actually turned in close to 2,000 signatures. So we had almost twice as many as we needed. And
That's
so
good.
once you turn those in, then the other parties have the opportunity to challenge your signatures. We were not challenged. And so
Well, that's
then
good.
that means that we automatically would be on the ballot for the primaries. But what happened was, since neither myself nor Mark, who is a Green Party candidate running for the 6-year term, neither of us had people within the party running against us. And so since we ran uncontested, they didn't by law have to print up a ballot for the Green Party. So we were not visible for the primary election, but we will definitively be on the ballot. We already are for the November 8th election.
So what are the demographics of the area of your district there?
So with this particular office, it is not for a specific district. This is Cook
Okay.
County, so it is countywide, and we have, I want to say, it's right at 6 million residents that are in Cook County. Now, it seems like, oh wow, that's a lot of people, and it is. But the issue is the fact that this particular office, Commissioner Kim Dubuclet was quoted as saying that the MWRD is the most important agency that no one knows about. And so, like, even with the primaries, when it came down to this office, I think that there were maybe 400,000 people who voted, and you have 6 million residents. Now, granted, all residents are not registered voters, but just in comparison to the number of people who voted for governor, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's a more, I won't even say it's a more important office, but it's a more prestigious office. It's one that people are more affiliated with, and so they understand governor. But with the society that we live in, there's not a lot of media coverage, not a lot of news, wordiness they feel to publicize this office. So a lot of residents are not even aware of what the MWRD is. And so in either case, the point just is that this is one of the issues that we have is we want to, and so with my Educated and Empowered campaign, what I want to be able to do is raise awareness with the residents and for the residents so that they understand what MWRD is and, more importantly, why they should care.
So given that, how do you plan to reach the voters? What is your campaign strategy?
Absolutely. So some of the things that we are already in the midst of doing and within these last 8 weeks will be continuing to do is definitively using social media, right? So social media is our friend, and I have a nice presence on Facebook, but then we also employ the use of like an Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, just trying to get the different age groups, because every social media platform, as I'm sure that you know, they have their own demographic,
Sure.
whether we're talking about age range or subject matter. And so, just trying to employ social media, number one. And then we have been doing various interviews for endorsements. And so one that I'm still waiting to hear back from is the IVI-IPO, which is the Independent Voters of Illinois Independent Precinct Organization. And so when you're interviewing for these various organizations, the idea is that if they're able to endorse, if they decide to endorse you, then the different members of their organization, they will encourage them to vote for you. So you have doing the endorsement interviews, and then of course regular media interviews with like broadcasts and podcasts like yourself. But I've been on a number of different radio shows, different people's podcasts, blogs, things like that. So that's really what we're honing in on. And then in this last stretch, we're going to focus on doing more radio ads and print media ads.
Okay. So right now you're focusing on social media and endorsements, and you plan on doing conventional media more as the campaign progresses.
Yes.
So are you doing this all by yourself, or do you have a team helping you out?
What we have, so with the Green Party, and specifically with the Green Party, there are different branches So you have the Illinois Green Party, ILGP, and then you have the Cook County Green Party, which I'm also the chairwoman of. I was recently elected this year to serve as chair. And so since the MWRD really kind of belongs to Cook County specifically, then we have a team within the Cook County Green Party that helps to create, we have these campaign strategy sessions where we're coming together, figuring out, how to strategize, whether we're talking about interviews, whether we're talking about fundraising, all of those different elements that make up a campaign. We do have a team that's working together to help us get the things that we need.
Okay, that sounds good. I'm glad you have a team backing you up.
Yep, absolutely.
So how can our audience out there support your campaign? And also, you said you're an author or publisher. How can they support your books?
Well, thank you so much for asking. So if there's anyone that's out there that's interested, whether it is joining the Green Party, whether it is specifically donating to my campaign, or even being a volunteer for the campaign, you can go to the website, which is mwrdgreens.org. So that's mwrdgreens.org. And there you can see more information about myself, as well as Mark Bittner, who is the Green Party candidate running for the 6-year term. You'll be able to see there's a big donate button. And I mean, anything from as small as $5 to as much as you want to give is appreciated. And again, you also will see a link to volunteer if you would like to serve on the campaign that way. And I think it's also important to note that with the Green Party, we are a political party that does not take corporate donations. And so we definitively depend on individual organizations to donate to our campaign. Now, if there are any listeners who would like to purchase my books or would like to have me help you to publish your own book, whether as an anthology or your own independent project, you can visit my website, which is, so all of my books are available on Amazon. So let's just say that you can get them on Amazon, or you can go to my personal website for the organization. It is weareaps.com, or my personal website is mynameis.Toneal.com.
Okay, great. Toneal, we thank you for coming on the podcast today and talking about your campaign. It sounds like you got a good thing going.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Sure thing. We wish you all the best in your campaign and all your other personal and professional endeavors.
Thank you. Thank you so much, and you have a great rest of your day.
Bye now.
Okay, bye-bye.